Hey, what's up guys? It's TechZoomer talking to you here. And in today's video, I want to help you decide between an iPad Pro and a Mac. Yes, today's video is to help you decide which type of computer is better for you. A MacBook Pro, a MacBook Air, or an iPad Air and an iPad Pro. These are two different types of a computer. Yes, the iPad Pro is more focused on the touch interface, the Apple Pencil, and the easy of use, while the MacBook Pro is more focused on productivity and, of course, power and performance. So they are very two different devices that serve two different type of markets, but they overlap. They overlap, guys, and so in today's video, I will help you out decide which one is better for you. Of course, this video came up into my mind because last video, if you don't ever saw it, like go check it out on my channel, is about the state of the iPad and especially the iPad Pro. Why is Apple neglecting the iPad Pro? Well, go watch that video to understand what I think and all of my opinions, but if you want a short answer, well, I think that the iPad Pro is not neglected, just on the back burner for the future. So, watch that video, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, let's get started. So, you are undecided between these two devices, the iPad Pro or the iPad Air, and the MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air. Yes, you need a portable computer, but you haven't decided between these two form factors. Well, the first question that you ask yourself is, do I want a touchscreen or not? This is probably the biggest question you need to answer first because it will decide your doubt at once. If you want a touchscreen, your only option is the iPad Pro. The iPad Pro or the iPad Air, they are the only ones that feature touchscreens. The Macs don't feature touchscreens. And this is a pretty big deal because if you want to use your Apple Pencil on an iPad or you want to use the Apple Pencil for note-taking and then use it for some word pricing or PowerPoint or even some Excel, the iPad Pro can do all of that. And of course you have the Apple Pencil and the touchscreen, which for lots of young people today, it's more than enough. And actually, it's necessary. So I think if in your mind you need the touchscreen, then there's even no doubt, go for the iPad. But here's the big but. The iPad is not well supported for all of the programs you're going to need. So if you are going to school, university, the iPad Pro actually doesn't support most of the programs and softwares that I myself encounter on university and school. So I always needed a backup computer, a Windows computer or a Mac. And here lies the biggest and actually most annoying thing about the iPad is the lack of support. And it's not fault from Apple, it's not fault of the whole ecosystem itself. No, it's about our developers that they don't see the incentive enough on a number of iPad users to create these big and expensive softwares for the iPad. So you will have to find workarounds, like for example, if you want to do 3D sketching or 3D modeling, like SolidWorks, you'll have to find another program. And there's tons of apps on the App Store that can do that, not as well. Or maybe if your class requires SolidWorks, you'll have to buy another computer. And in that case, not even a Mac is worth it because SolidWorks is a Windows-only program. So they are both limited on their sides. They are both limited on the OS supports for more programs, but I think the iPad Pro is way more limited than the MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air. So if you are looking for the most software support possible, then go for the Mac and install a Parallels VM. So it's like a virtual machine where you can run Windows, Linux on your Mac. So really useful and really, really powerful for you, users or engineers or like doctors. You need these types of software. This is the best option. Go for the Mac. But now that we have removed these two big things out of the end, let's go deeper onto this grayish area where they two meet. So these two devices feature the two best screens available on a computer out there. The MacBook Pro features a stunning 14/16-inch mini LED display, the MacBook Pro, not the MacBook Air, while the iPad Pro features a 12.9-inch or an 11-inch mini LED 120Hz ProMotion display. So about the same panel with different sizes. But again, only on the Pro. And this is very, very expensive to get. So the Pro starts at $800 with the 11-inch and $1,100 for the 12.9-inch. While the MacBook Pro 14-inch starts at $2,000 and the 16-inch starts at $2,500. But if you opt out for the cheaper versions of these two computers, you will get the MacBook Air, the M2 MacBook Air, which starts at $1,100 and it has a 13-inch LCD display. Then you have the option to go up for $200 for the 15-inch LCD display And then there's the iPad Air or the iPad mini. The iPad mini has an 8.9-inch display, and the iPad Air, the M2 iPad Air or the M1 iPad Air, this device has a 10.9-inch display. So you have to decide, do you want the biggest screen possible? Then that's the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the ProMotion Mini LED display. But if you need a touchscreen and you want the biggest screen possible, then there's the 12.9-inch iPad Pro with the mini LED display and ProMotion. These two displays are the same. The only difference is that the iPad Pro 12.9-inch is a tiny bit smaller than the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Actually, it's about the same size of the 14-inch one, but with a little bit thicker bezels, so it has a 12.9-inch, not a 14-inch, and it's still ProMotion, still mini LED, it's still really color accurate. They are about the same color accuracy, these two displays, but it has a touchscreen. And of course, doesn't come with a mouse or a keyboard, while the MacBooks all come with a mouse and a keyboard included, because they are laptops. So you have a trackpad and a keyboard, while the iPad you need to buy the Magic Keyboard. It's compatible with the iPad Air, the iPad Pro 12.9-inch and 11-inch, not compatible with the iPad mini, and it costs you around $350. So it will be an extra expense on top of the iPad you choose to buy. So buying an iPad and trying to spec it out to match the MacBooks actually turns out to be more expensive than just buying a Mac. And I think that's on purpose from Apple, but still, it's really expensive to get an iPad, but you get the touchscreen, you get, I think, the better support from the App Store, which might be good for you, might not be good for you. You get Netflix, you get native support for all of those streaming apps, and the most important part, the Apple Pencil, which is really cool. You get Scribble and other features. I think that Stage Manager is also really well done for the iPad, while for the Mac I don't see much the use. So at the end of the day, these two computers are two different platforms, and you gotta choose if you want a more traditional laptop or if you want a more futuristic computer like the iPad. This one is more innovative but has less software support. This one is more traditional, but you can do more with this one. But of course, if you are a university guy, then it's more like, do you want this one? Do you like red? Do you like blue? But if you are professional, well, now you gotta be careful, because the iPad Pro, although it features Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro X, DaVinci Resolve, it doesn't feature the full cream apps. Like, they are not 100%. Like, they have some things and some quirks that are missing from this app, so they are not 100% good enough for most professionals, so you need to buy a Mac for that point. And if you are a professional, do not buy an iPad. I think it won't be reliable enough for you to work on, for you to use. The performance won't be as better as you probably think, and it's better to work with a keyboard and a mouse and not to risk on your work. And I think if you are a professional, you already know this answer, so you are probably not watching this video, or if you are, it's just for entertainment. But still, if you are a professional, I think you should go for the Mac. I don't think you should go for the iPad. I don't think there's a possibility where if you just like to work with the Apple Pencil, then there is. The Apple Pencil is for you. But if you just want to do 3D sketching, if you want to do 3D modeling, if you want to do photo editing, if you want to do video editing, although there are options on the iPad, I think if you are better served with the Mac. So if you're a professional, steer towards the Mac. Unless you need to use the Apple Pencil, then the iPad Pro is a great option. As for the speakers, the iPad Pro features a quad speaker system, and they are great. Actually, they are amazing. And the iPad Air features a dual speaker system, which is also really good. While the MacBook Pros feature the best speaker system out there. The 16-inch MacBook Pro is the best portable computer or laptop with a speaker that I've ever heard. It's truly insane. While the MacBook Air, it's on par as the iPad Pro. So the iPad Pro and the MacBook Air have about the same speaker quality and power, while the iPad Air is probably the worst of them all and the iPad mini follows it. So if you want a really good speaker to play music on, I don't know, a party or something, then be safe that the iPad Pro, if you choose that one, or any of the Macs, will have really good speakers. But if you choose the MacBook Pros, oh my god, prepare to be surprised. Have a comparison between the 16-inch MacBook Pro against the M2 MacBook Air 15-inch. So you can understand the differences between the 15-inch MacBook Air and the iPad Pro and the 16-inch MacBook Pro. you can probably tell by hearing it, the 16-inch is much better. So, of course, I think if you want the best package overall, the 16-inch is the best option for you. If you don't really care about the money, the 16-inch should be the only option you should choose. While if you want the truly innovative experience with the Apple Pencil and the touchscreen, then the iPad Pro is for you. Because the iPad Pro has the touchscreen, has the Apple Pencil, has the more innovative and futuristic apps you can find. And I think the expectation for an iPad app is different from the expectation of a Mac app. There's lots of uncertainty. Everyone is creative. It's different. It's not the same thing to have a Mac app and have an iPad app. And I think that the iPad in the next 5 to 10 years will explode in terms of use cases. And I think Apple wants to replace the Mac with the iPad. But I think overall, the biggest thing and the biggest new thing is Apple Vision Pro. But in the next 5 to 10 years, I think that the iPad still has tons to give. And if you want to bet on the future of computing, the iPad should be for you. But again, I own an iPad and I own a Mac. And if you tell me which one I'm ready to sell and not to use, should be the iPad because of my YouTube channel. You cannot run a YouTube channel on an iPad, or if you could, it would be janky. There's no official YouTube Studio on the web. It doesn't work that well. You have to use the YouTube Studio mobile app, which doesn't work really well to upload videos and to work with your video, and it's not easy to have like the customizable tags and the descriptions and all of that. Much better on the Mac, because I think that the Safari and the web version of Safari on the Mac is still better than on the iPad. The iPad, it's different from the iPhone. It's not a mobile version of the Safari version, but it's still like half-half, 75% between. Like it's steered towards the Mac, but it's still not 100% a Mac version. It's not 100% a computer version. So if you want a traditional computer, the Mac is better. But if you want a less traditional but more innovative computer, the iPad is better. They both rock Apple Silicon. The MacBook Pros feature the M2 Pro or the M2 Max, while the iPad Pros feature the M2. But if you go for the cheaper versions, the MacBook Air, those feature the M2, the equivalent chip found on the iPad. While if you go for the cheaper versions of the iPad, you still get the same chip, the M1 or the M2, depending when you are watching this video, if the M2 iPad Air has been released. So this is what you have to have in mind in terms of performance. The iPad will never catch the Mac. The Mac just has a better thermal envelope, so enables app to put better and more powerful chips on the Mac. For example, the 14-inch MacBook Pro is not much thicker and bigger than the 12.9-inch iPad with a case or the Magic Keyboard, but it can support the M2 Pro chip, a chip much more powerful than the M2 found on the iPad Pro. Yes, the iPad Pro is way thinner without the Magic Keyboard, but if you want to have a fair comparison between these two, you need to put a Magic Keyboard on the iPad, and that becomes really expensive, really heavy, and really bulky. So you can compare it between the 14-inch and the 12.9-inch. But if you want to compare between the two 13-inch sizes, then the MacBook Air 13-inch with the M2 has the same chip and around the same performance as the iPad Pro with the M2, but again, is much cheaper, starts at $1,100, while the 12.9-inch iPad Pro with the M2 and the base storage, which is still half than the 13-inch MacBook Air at 128 gigabytes of storage, will start at $1,100, the same price, but without the Magic Keyboard. And if you add the Magic Keyboard, which are $350, then it's way closer to the 15-inch MacBook Air version with double the storage. So yeah, you need to be very careful when speccing out iPads and Macs. And if you really want to prioritize performance per buck, so performance per dollar, the amount of performance you get for your dollar, then the Mac is definitely the best option. The iPad is not focused on specs. It doesn't have that much RAM. It has, I think, 8 gigabytes maximum. And the iPad is not a powerhouse. The iPad is more that device that you use on the go, that you use to create. It's more of a creative device to use the Apple Pencil, to use on the go and to edit videos on the go, to edit photos on the go. Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve are all shorter and easier to use apps optimized for touch. And that's the iPad story. It's better for touch, better to use on the go, better to be portable than to be stationary, while the Mac is both. The Mac is a portable computer that can be used on a desk. So you need to really decide, because the Mac can be a very expensive purchase, but it's a one-front purchase, while the iPad, well, the iPad creeps on you. The iPad starts at $1,100, the iPad Pro with the 12.9-inch screen. Then there's the Apple Pencil, which is $180. And then, it is not over, then you have to buy a Magic Keyboard. if you want to compare it to the Mac, which is another $350. So at this point you are at $1,600 and you still have the base model iPad Pro 12.9 inch, which for that money you can buy the M1 Pro version of the 14-inch MacBook Pro. A little bit cheaper, refurbished, but way better. Better performance, better keyboard, better trackpad, much better. So in terms of money and value, I think that the Macs are always the better value. But if you want the Apple Pencil and the touch experience, I think that the iPad will always have that advantage. So, of course, it's something that you need to decide. Do you really prioritize that much the iPad's Apple Pencil and touchscreen just to simply buy an iPad? Or do you think that it's not worth it and you just want the best performance per dollar or the best value for your money? That option is the Mac, definitely. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Do not forget to drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Texan talking to you here. Bye-bye.